entering Earth's atmosphere, becoming what we used to be calling shooting stars.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well. Basically, everyone is/was talking about this film, and I know it's been talked to death and you probably watched a million videos on this film. However, that was by big creators, so I want to go, basically. You've got to leave some scraps for the little guys like us. So today we are talking about the new War of the Worlds film that came out, and
Mark, what? Mark, who is that?
yeah, I think it's safe to say the film has just one or two problems here or there. It's a really strange film. I don't want to go around in circles all the time just going, that looks terrible. Why does that happen? This is being pushed on Amazon's main page, and I physically cannot understand why Amazon would watch this and decide that this was something that they really wanted to push. Basically, I've just written a load of notes while watching it the second time, and as we go through, I will apologize because the first sort of, I'd say 20 minutes, I was furiously writing notes. But then by the end of it, all I put in my notes was just timestamps to weird stuff. So let's have a look at the film. Basically, this film is being marketed as Ice Cube's War of the World because obviously Ice Cube is the main guy. They decided to make him a data analyst for the government, which I don't think it's really fits sort of the archetype of what Ice Cube is particularly strong at. I genuinely quite like Ice Cube in a lot of the stuff that I've seen him in, and it's a really odd choice to go, this actor would fit for this type of role. The only thing that I ever throughout the film could see going, oh, that makes sense for why they would get him in it, is the sort of protective parent role. But even that's done so poorly. I mean, 22 Jump Street does that kind of thing, but that really works there, whereas here it's just a bit creepy.
Hey. A muffin? Really? A muffin? What are you thinking?
Jesus.
Let's get into it. So basically, Ice Cube is sort of a data analyst of some kind. He's like a hacker for the government or something. Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It wasn't entirely clear. He's sitting at work, he's doing right-clicking on cameras and just quote-unquote hacking into them so he can watch his family, mostly his daughter. He seems to have a bad relationship with his son, which we'll get on to. But yeah, it's really weird with him following his pregnant daughter around with the cameras. I know they're trying to do he's overprotective, but there's a shot later in the film where he just hacks their entire house's cameras, and there's a camera above the TV and in the dining room, and I'm this feels like a invasion of privacy a little bit more than just trying to be protective. It's very strange, and the portrayal of hacking in this film, it is insane. So there's this whole sort of subplot that goes on with this major sort of villain hacker that Ice Cube's been trying to go after for a while. For the sort of main sort of section of the film is about them trying to go in and capture them, and they found an address that might link to them. They send in the FBI. There's this really weird moment, right, where he hacks a load of cameras in the building to see if he can find the villain character, and he hacks one of the cameras, and it's just a YouTube clip of a child just being absolutely deleted, and then he just moves along with no reaction, and it's so bizarre.
Don't worry, sir. We're all over this guy. Little punk.
So while this is all happening, they get the wrong house, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. I don't know why I'm trying to explain the plot. It's whatever. He's trying to get this hacker guy, and then these weird meteors that look incredibly bad fall out of the sky and start destroying stuff. And by the way, Ice Cube's reaction is genuinely amazing. So there's quite a few scenes in this film, and this happens early on. Usually when the meteors are all falling to Earth, it seems to happen a few times, where the actors were clearly told, hold your phone out to your face and shake it around and run down the street. But it's so clearly a street there's just a regular street where nothing's happening. And I feel like secondhand embarrassment for these actors being made to do this, because it's not like there's a camera crew there or anything. They're just running down the street with their phone in front of them, acting like it's the end of the world. They must have looked insane filming this.
Dave, you seen this? Dave, listen to me. Get out of there.
And you sometimes see, like, they kind of put this weird effect over the phones, you know, like the sort of freezes and stuff to try and like make it out that you're trying to figure out what's happening, but it's so clearly just a street. They also keep throwing in these montages of like around the world when the tripods first like arrive. Oh yeah, there's tripods in this, you know, War of the Worlds. Look, you don't need to know about War of the Worlds. Look, just know that the Tom Cruise one was pretty good and you should watch that, definitely more than this. So you don't really need to know anything about it, whatever. Anyway, when the tripods arrive and start like destroying stuff, the images and like videos that they use look like actual war zones or natural disasters that have been recorded, but with the tripods so lazily like cropped into the shots. Doesn't help that they didn't make them an easier material. They're like sort of sheer white. So at this time, all the tripods are coming down, you know, world's going nuts. Ice Cube's daughter is like out and about and a bit of building falls on her. She's got a bit of rebar sort of stuck through her, but he hacks a Tesla, product placement casually just thrown in. And weirdly, they have this whole conversation about sort of family drama, but it happens like in the middle of the city being destroyed. It's like, guys, get out of there, then you can have this conversation. It's so like lazily done, this sort of trying to make you feel sympathy for both sort of Ice Cube's situation and his family. I've just got to not get into the habit of just saying that over and over again and actually explain myself. Anyway, there's a little moment in this bit. Got a note about this actually, and I didn't notice this the first time, that the battery in the car like almost dies. So what he does is he clicks like sabotage on a symbol that looks like an opening of the windows, and it just gives them more power for some reason. I'm not sure that's how that works. So the army gets involved at this point, and there's once more stock images of like parades and soldiers like going off to, you know, like Iraq and Afghanistan, like it must be, and it starts showing like the army fighting back and actually kill a couple of the tripods. And Ice Cube's reactions this whole time are absolutely phenomenal.
Got him. Got him. Woo, hell yeah. Took your ass out, huh? Take your intergalactic asses back home. Back home!
Then it goes back to the daughter, so her partner is sort of tasked by Ice Cube to go rescue the daughter, and he runs through an empty street again. My next note is literally just the data is gone. So basically the tripods all of a sudden start sort of, the only way I can describe it is they suck the data out of like data centers across the world. They have like a little tentacle, but it looks like a straw. They're like sucking the data out. Don't ask me what data, just the data. So the data goes, and then the army starts like losing, and God, like some of the shots, like this plane falls out of the sky and it's the funniest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. There's even a shot where battleships basically wash up onto the shore like beached whales. It's absolutely ridiculous. And all bear in mind, because the film is shot, and I didn't really mention this, it's shot from like the perspective of if we're seeing sort of Ice Cube's screen with him sort of in the corner and he's using apps and things. Totally not sponsored by all these different companies. But basically, like all of this is supposed to be happening, and I've timestamped it. All of this happens in the space of 45 minutes, technically, because we're seeing it happen bit by bit. I don't think there's any time jumps, or there's not supposed to be. Anyway, so Mark, the partner of Ice Cube's daughter, he arrives and they take the rebar out of her leg, and it's like a chunky bit of rebar, like, and I think there's even a line where he says, "We thought it would stop the bleeding," whatever. But my guy uses packaging tape to like seal the wound.
You gotta put some pressure on that wound, man. No, Mark, no! You gotta get something else, man. You need a tourniquet.
Trust me. I'm a pro.
That's not gonna work.
We find out later that the tripods actually aren't like the creatures, but there's these weird little like hex bug nanos that like walk around and steal all the data. They're like little spider sort of things. They're the real creature. So throughout, Ice Cube goes back to like his wife's Facebook page. It's clear that she's passed away, and obviously he's sort of still sending her messages on her Facebook even though it's inactive, saying like I miss you, and he listens back to sort of a lot of the voicemails that were left, or this one in particular. But the banner at the top of the Facebook page has Ice Cube, the son, and the daughter on. But if you look at Ice Cube's one, it's like this filter, this sort of weird like old time filter thing. But Ice Cube is clearly just wearing the outfit that he's wearing in the film. It's so embarrassing how like low effort. Anyway, this is where my notes started to sort of waver a little bit. There's this thing called Goliath that gets introduced. It's basically a network of satellites that the government created to nick everyone's data, which doesn't really make sense because like Ice Cube is hacking drones, he's hacking into his family's like cameras, he can do all this stuff, but they're like, this is the line, that how dare they steal everyone's data. That is unbelievable. So Ice Cube like finds out from his son, spoiler alert, fuck it. Why am I doing spoiler alert? It's stupid film. So the son turns out to be the sort of expert hacker that Ice Cube's after. He has a green screen. Like they think the tripods have found his house later, and it like detonates Ice Cube's house, and he thinks his son's dead, but actually he's been in like his mate's basement with a green screen of Ice Cube's house behind him. It's absurd. So they find out about Goliath, and Ice Cube joins his son with like a hacker team to try and stop it. His daughter also works in like biological science or something like that, and they team up because they find out that the hexbug nanos are like part biology, part technology, so they can use the technology to defeat it. But they develop this virus, but it needs a USB stick. So the daughter's fiance, partner, husband, etc. He works for Amazon as a delivery driver, and this is genuinely real. And if I can play as much of it on the screen, I will put this in. He goes, you need to buy a USB stick because on Amazon, because I have a drone and I can fly it to you because I have a USB stick here. So there's this whole extended scene of him going to Amazon, clicking buy it now on a fucking USB stick, and then he like pilots the drones through the tripods like a ride at like Universal, and it looks absolutely atrocious. It's terrible. Like, I cannot believe that they looked at this and went, yeah, that's perfect. Anyway, so the drone's flying, but it gets shot down, it ends up on its back, and there's like a homeless guy who they go, oh, he's got a phone, we can hack in and talk to him through Microsoft Teams. Eventually, they basically offer him an $1,000 Amazon gift voucher, and the homeless man's like, yeah, I'll flip the drone for that. Hell yeah.
Wait, give him an Amazon gift card for $1,000. Hurry! All right, no, move! Flip over for me, baby. Come on, yes!
So Ice Cube then like gets the USB and he runs to the server and he gets grabbed by a tentacle, and it's so clearly him just laying on his back, like just kicking like randomly. It looks so, like, how many times can I say this looks atrocious? Like, every single shot, whenever there's any CG involved, it looks so terrible. I cannot even comprehend how they let this get through. But Ice Cube, you think he's died when he puts the USB in the sort of mainframe or whatever, but then it turns out later he's actually alive and all the family are together, and there is so much photoshopping of Ice Cube in this section. Like, him and his son get like spliced onto the sort of uber hacker villain sort of, it's like a hooded guy sort of that they use for the videos. They put his face on it, he has it as his background in his computer, and it looks so insane. But yeah, in this moment at the end, Goliath gets exposed, and the son and Ice Cube sort of celebrate that they beat the government at this. The government guy who did Goliath gets arrested, as if there isn't a whole department that can just hack any camera. They get to still knock about. Like, what more can I say? My last note is just, that's it. I got to the end of the film and I was genuinely so like, thank God. This is over. Like, it's done. I've done all my notes. This sort of narrative, it just doesn't fit with what's really impressive about War of the Worlds as like a setting. So if I can, I'm just gonna give you sort of an idea of the original War of the Worlds, because it's quite a revolutionary bit of science fiction. This film, absolutely atrocious. Don't watch it. Watch this instead. Watch this video 400 times in a row, back to back. Like, that'll get you through. With War of the Worlds, there's always these sort of the tripods. The imagery is usually quite universal with this type of thing, but there's a real sort of sense of mystery or foreboding about the sort of invasion of Earth. The idea being that these sort of tripods aliens come down to Earth and just start sort of wiping the world out. The crazy thing is about this sort of narrative, and I'll put some images in because some of the art from back in the day, awesome. I love the vibe of it. This is a spoiler for something written a very long time ago. Essentially, the whole sort of narrative of War of the Worlds and the story is the tripods come down, take over Earth, and eventually all of them do die out because of earthly pathogens the aliens aren't really used to, so they all just die off. As I said earlier, very briefly, I genuinely quite like the Tom Cruise War of the Worlds film. That one's quite good, and it's got quite harrowing sort of invasion imagery. But this is to say also, and I mentioned that it's written a long time ago, it was published in 1898. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating story. You should have a look into War of the Worlds like a little bit more. But this new one, like, what were they thinking? It's so obvious Amazon and all these brands had like paid so much basically for the film to be made, and they had to release. It's absolutely mind-blowing that this got put onto the main page of Amazon and they didn't just bury it. That's sort of all I had to say about this absolute train wreck of a film. I hope you did enjoy and came along for the ride with me on this one. I do appreciate you sticking around while I ramble about something terrible for a bit. So yeah, don't watch this, and I will see you all next time bright and early for another video. See you later, guys. Bye bye.